Disclaimer: the material published on this channel is intended for general information only and is not legal advice or other professional advice. Any opinions expressed in this material only for the purpose of the general information and owner's personal opinion that is not effective in any court of law. There is no advice and legal perspective on this channel that creates any responsibility on the creator. In an era dominated by 24-hour news cycles, social media, and constant connectivity, the influence of political news on our mental health has become a subject of increasing concern. While staying informed about the political landscape is important for civic engagement and democracy, there is growing evidence that excessive exposure to political news can lead to heightened anxiety, stress, and overall mental health issues. This article explores the psychological effects of political news, the mechanisms behind these effects, and strategies for managing media consumption to protect mental well-being. The pervasive nature of political news. Political news is ubiquitous, infiltrating every corner of our lives through television, newspapers, online platforms, and social media. This constant exposure is partly driven by the news industry's reliance on sensationalism to capture and retain audience attention. Headlines are often designed to evoke strong emotional reactions, whether it's fear, anger, or outrage. This sensationalism, coupled with the polarized nature of contemporary politics, can create a toxic environment that exacerbates stress and anxiety. Psychological effects of political news. Anxiety and stress. Numerous studies have shown that consuming political news, especially in large quantities, can lead to increased anxiety and stress levels. The uncertainty and often negative nature of political events can trigger a fear response, activating the body's stress hormones and leading to chronic stress if exposure is prolonged. Anger and frustration. Political news often highlights conflict, corruption, and injustice, which can provoke feelings of anger and frustration. While these emotions can be motivating in small doses, persistent anger can have detrimental effects on mental and physical health, contributing to conditions such as hypertension and heart disease. Desensitization and numbness. On the flip side, continuous exposure to distressing news can lead to desensitization. Individuals may become numb to important issues, reducing empathy and the willingness to engage in civic activities. This emotional blunting is a defense mechanism to cope with overwhelming information but can hinder constructive societal change. Polarization and social isolation. Political news often reinforces existing beliefs and biases, contributing to societal polarization. This can lead to social isolation, as individuals may withdraw from interactions with those holding opposing views. The resulting echo chambers further entrench divisive opinions, fostering a sense of alienation and loneliness. Mechanisms behind the impact. The impact of political news on mental health can be understood through several psychological and neurological mechanisms. The negativity bias. Human brains are wired to pay more attention to negative information. This evolutionary trait, which once helped our ancestors survive, now makes us particularly sensitive to the often negative content of political news. The brain's heightened response to negative stimuli can amplify feelings of anxiety and fear. The stress response. Political news can trigger the body's stress response, releasing cortisol and adrenaline. While this response is beneficial in short bursts, chronic activation due to relentless news exposure can lead to health problems such as anxiety disorders, depression, and cardiovascular issues. Confirmation bias. People tend to seek out information that confirms their pre-existing beliefs. In the realm of political news, this means consuming media that aligns with one's political views. This confirmation bias reinforces existing anxieties and prevents exposure to balanced perspectives, deepening stress and division. Social comparison. The constant barrage of political news can lead to social comparison, where individuals gauge their own lives against the often exaggerated or dramatized portrayals of political figures and events. This comparison can create feelings of inadequacy, helplessness, and anxiety. The role of social media. Social media platforms have transformed the way we consume political news, amplifying its impact on mental health. Algorithms designed to maximize engagement often prioritize sensational and polarizing content, leading to a distorted view of reality. Additionally, The instantaneous nature of social media means that users are constantly bombarded with news updates, comments, and debates, making it difficult to disconnect and process information healthily. Strategies for managing media consumption. Given the potential negative effects of political news on mental health, it is crucial to develop strategies for managing media consumption. Here are some evidence-based approaches. Set boundaries. Limit the amount of time spent consuming political news. Designate specific times for checking news updates and avoid constant monitoring, especially before bedtime, to reduce anxiety and improve sleep quality. Diversify sources. Consume news from a variety of reputable sources to gain a balanced perspective. This reduces the risk of confirmation bias and helps build a more nuanced understanding of political issues. Practice mindfulness. Engage in mindfulness practices such as meditation and deep breathing to manage stress and anxiety. Mindfulness can help create a buffer against the emotional impact of distressing news. Prioritize self-care. Engage in activities that promote mental well-being, such as exercise, hobbies, and socializing with friends and family. Self-care can counterbalance the negative effects of political news and provide a sense of control and stability. Seek support. If political news is causing significant distress, consider talking to a mental health professional. Therapists can provide coping strategies and support for managing anxiety and stress related to news consumption. Stay engaged, but wisely. It is important to stay informed and engaged in civic duties, but finding a balance is key. Focus on constructive actions such as volunteering, participating in community activities, or advocating for causes you care about. This active engagement can provide a sense of purpose and mitigate feelings of helplessness. Conclusion. While staying informed about political events is essential for a functioning democracy, the pervasive and often negative nature of political news can have significant impacts on mental health. Understanding the psychological mechanisms behind these effects and implementing strategies to manage media consumption can help mitigate anxiety, stress, and other mental health issues. By finding a balance between staying informed and protecting mental well-being, individuals can engage in political discourse in a healthier and more constructive manner. The end, and do not forget to like and share. Maybe someone needs our support. Think again.